This is Access 2019, Module 3, Part 8. We're going to begin looking at some calculated fields in our queries. So this first one we're going to do today is a simple formula. So it's simply, multiplying two fields or multiplying a field by a value, doing division, something like a simple mathematical equation. When you're doing a calculated field, it all has to be done in a new column in the field row. And in the field row, you want to see the new field name, followed by a colon, followed by the formula. In the formula, if you have existing field names, you're going to see those have to be formatted in a special way. So there is some formatting that you do have to try to memorize for these calculated fields. So let's go ahead and start in our Lakewood database. We're going to go to Create and Query Design to start a new query. We're going to add the visit and the billing tables. From the visit table, we are going to add the visit ID, the patient ID, and the visit date. From the billing table, we will add the invoice item, invoice paid, and the invoice amount. So the first thing we want to look at, we're going to be calculating an unpaid late invoice fee. So we want to find out if our invoices are paid or not. So we have to put a criteria under invoice paid. So we go to our criteria row under the invoice paid field, and we're going to start typing in the word no. Now notice it brings up a screen tip trying to help us, asking, did you mean you wanted to use this function? That's what this fx stands for, is a function. If you don't want to use that screen tip, you have to hit the escape key to get rid of it. Then you can tab out of the field and no becomes the criteria. Let's go ahead and click Run so we can make sure that all of our invoice amounts are showing up as unpaid. No checked boxes. And that looks good. So we are going to go ahead and save this query. We're going to call it Unpaid Invoice Late Fee. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove that invoice paid field from showing. I don't want it to show because it always is going to show an unchecked box, but I need to keep it there so that I can have the criteria. So I uncheck the show box. And now I am ready to calculate the new field. So when we do a calculated field, you're always going to start out in a new column. So you're going to click in a new column. We're going to do it two different ways so that you can see how it works both ways, and then you can just decide which way you prefer to do it. The first way, I'm going to use the builder. Up here under our query setup tools, there's an option called Builder, and it opens up a formula calculator. If you do not see the fields listed in the middle that are in your query, then you haven't saved it yet, and this is much harder. So if that's the case, you don't see those fields there, cancel, save the query, and then come back in here. All right, so what we're going to do now that we're in here is we're going to enter a equation that is going to take the invoice amount and multiply it by 0.02 or 2%. So I'm going to double click on invoice amount. Then after invoice amount, up in the expression box, I'm going to say multiply, which is the asterisk, by 0.02, which is 2%, and then I'm going to say OK. Now I am going to enlarge this box or this column a little bit by moving that border over so you can see. Notice what we have in the field row. EXPR1 is currently the new field name. So when I click Run, it is going to calculate the answer of 0.02 times the invoice amount, and notice my column heading is my field name, EXPR1. Now let's fix the field name. They want us to have a field name of late fee. So I am going to highlight EXPR1, and I'm going to type over that late fee. Now I'll click Run, and you can see my new name. All right, we're going to go ahead and do it one more time, just so that you can see you don't have to use the builder. So I'm going to click in this one. I'm going to call this one Late Fee 1, because you can't have two fields with the same name in the same query. So we're going to say Late Fee 1, that's the name, and then I put a colon. After the colon, I have to do the formula. If I use an existing field in the formula, that field must be in square brackets. Do you see how it did that here? It did it for us, but now we can do it. So we can type square bracket, invoice, AMT, square bracket, multiply by, just the asterisk, 0.02. Click Run. So you can do it either way, whichever way works for you. If you want to use the builder, use the builder. If you don't want to use the builder, type it in here. But it needs to be in this format. Field name, followed by the colon, followed by the formula. Existing fields in the formula must be in square brackets. So let's fix one of these two fields to make it look like the rest of our worksheet. So we're going to fix this first one, late fee. In order to add a caption, set the formatting, those type of things, you're going to click on the field and choose the property sheet. So in the Show Hide group, you're going to open up the property sheet. So notice I can set the formatting. So I can go to Format, and I can say I want it to be currency. I can say it's supposed to have 2 decimal places. And I can give it a caption of late space fee. When you're done with the property sheet, you can simply close it. And now when you run, you can see that it gave us the caption and it formatted our amount to look like the other column in our query. So you want to remember that when you go to Design View and you want to format how this looks or set a caption, you must open the property sheet. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save that query.